John Paul Bremer, contributor to NBCNews.com, said that transgender people exist all over the world and come from many different walks of life. GLAD, a pro-LGBTQ acceptance organization, says that 31% of transgender people experienced mistreatment in the past year in a place of public accommodation. American Student Association MSA, a public educational foundation that has interlocking directorate with American Medical Student Association, addresses some mental health issues and options for healthcare. MSA says that transgender people face numerous health disparities as well as stigma, discrimination, and lack of access to quality care. MSA says that there are medical options like medical and surgical therapy and mental health to help guide transgender people in their identities. American Psychological Association, a corporation chartered in the District of Columbia that advances psychology to benefit society and improve people's lives, said that according to the APA Style Guide, the term transsexual is largely outdated, but some people identify with it. This term should be used only for an individual who specifically claims it. They also say that transgender is an umbrella term for persons whose gender identity, gender expression, or behavior does not conform to that typically associated with the sex to which they were assigned at birth. APA further says that trans is sometimes used as shorthand for transgender. Planned Parenthood, a trusted healthcare provider, informed educator, a passion advocate, and a global partner helping similar organizations around the world, says that gender identity, whether transgender or cisgender, is about who you are inside as male, female, both, or none of these. Planned Parenthood also says that transgender is about gender identity by being a term that includes many ways that people's gender identities can be different from the sex they were assigned at birth. The topic of gender dysphoria can be confusing to those who are questioning transgender. Planned Parenthood says that gender dysphoria is a term that psychologists and doctors use to describe the distress, unhappiness, and anxiety that transgender people may feel about the mismatch between their bodies and their gender identity. The National Center for Transgender Equality, an advocate for change and policies in society to increase the understanding and acceptance of transgender people, says that an exercise to think about your own gender is to imagine what it would be like if everyone told you that the gender that you've always known yourself to be was wrong. The National Center for Transgender Equality says that for many transgender people, recognizing who they are and deciding to start gender transition can take a lot of reflection. They further say that transgender people risk social stigma, discrimination, and harassment when they tell other people who they really are. The National Center for Transgender Equality says that transgender is a broad term that can be used to describe people whose gender identity is different from the gender they were thought to be when they were born. They say that pronouns should be like so if someone who lives as a woman today is called a transgender woman and should be referred to as she and her, and a transgender man lives as a man today and should be referred to as he and him. Dan Levin, New York Times writer for American Youth for the National Desk, says the lawmakers have introduced a number of measures this year, from criminalizing those who prescribe hormone therapy to transgender youth to banning transgender athletes from sport teams. This is probably wrong, right? He also says that lawmakers in Idaho and in more than 2,000 other states across the country have introduced measures this year, 2020, that would chip away at transgender rights, including criminalizing medical professionals who prescribe hormone treatments to minors. Levin says that researchers have found that transgender youth who are supported in their transitions experience notably lower rates of depression.